Jalen Jacoby is presented by Samuel Adams.
He's Jalen Rose. I'm David Jacoby. We are Jalen and
What up,
Jacoby.
though?
What is it that we do?
We give the people what they want.
Huge upset loss for the Super Bowl champion Chiefs. A tragic injury for Dak Prescott. But we start with last night's Game 6 of the NBA Finals, where the Lakers were crowned NBA champions of 2020, led by LeBron James, but not just LeBron James on offense. In Game 6, it was the Lakers' defense that stifled the Heat. Jalen, specifically about this game, what did you see on the floor in the bubble?
You and I both spent considerable time in Los Angeles, and for me, living out there 25 years, I just enjoy seeing my friends happy. Happy for Jeannie Buss, the way she took over for her brother and reshaped the franchise. Hired Rob when people questioned that decision. And then all of a sudden he traded for Anthony Davis, and that guy became the anchor of the defense you're talking about last night, because that ultimately became the difference maker. LeBron James was outstanding, basically averaging a triple-double throughout this series. And AD's offense seemed to come and go in spurts, but he was there when they needed him. The big game-winning three earlier in the series to close out a game. A late three-pointer in Game 5 to end that game. But last night was about total team defense. Rajon Rondo was terrific coming in off the bench, contributing on both ends. It was a total team effort. They were in a different weight class as the Miami Heat, and it showed as the series progressed.
Absolutely. With Anthony Davis anchoring the defense in the lane, and whenever the Heat drove, he either blocked the shot, and then they started getting intimidated and try to drive and kick, and the Lakers were all over those passes from the paint as well. It was a full team win for these Lakers. And after the game, after the confetti had settled on the floor, here is what the Finals MVP LeBron James had to say about it all.
We just want our respect. Rob wants his respect. Coach Vogel wants his respect. Our organization wants their respect. Laker Nation wants their respect. And I want my damn respect too.
And I want my damn respect too. Jalen Rose, what exactly does he mean, and who is he talking to?
The Los Angeles Lakers are one of the most storied brands in the history of sports and entertainment. They get their respect. Rob Pelinka is my former teammate at the University of Michigan, and I was on any show that would take me, defending his honor when people were questioning whether he was going to be able to deliver. He did so. LeBron James, no matter who's having the conversation, is regarded as one of the greatest basketball players to ever lace him up. When he says, I want my damn respect too, it's more than just the 4 championships and the 4 MVPs. LeBron's talking about how he has his fingerprints on everything, like help building a roster. And now I enter Rich Paul, his longtime friend, who's catapulted himself into the mega agent of the NBA. He represents 6 Los Angeles Lakers. He represents 6 of their players, Jacoby. And so when you have that level of influence and 2 of those players are LeBron James, he signed Anthony Davis while he was in New Orleans. I came on this show and told you that was going to lead to AD being a Laker. Now that same Rich Paul who made sure all of his clients got all of their money during the pandemic is going to make sure while LeBron James continues to get older, AD ain't going to sign no long-term deal. They're going to look deeper into the roster. What's happening with our role players? What changes are we making? And so because of the Rich Paul influence, the Los Angeles Lakers have delivered another championship. This is why I believe he deserves 2 rings. Let's get on the phone with Adam Silver. Let's make sure Rich Paul gets 2 rings for his contribution to the Lakers.
So, Jalen, I think let's go down the line about the people that he discusses. He brings up Rob Pelinka, and don't forget, they had a bad season 2 years ago, and people looked at Rob Pelinka, well, he's an agent, he doesn't have a GM experience, perhaps he should be replaced. And when Frank Vogel was hired, Jason Kidd was right there. Everybody was talking about, oh, will Frank Vogel last the season? Will Jason Kidd take over the reins from him? And LeBron James. Let's just talk recently about LeBron James, because we all watched Game 5. Feels like it was a long time ago. We all watched the end of Game 5 when LeBron James made that pass to Danny Green. And everybody was just saying how he should have taken the shot, even though he's double teamed. And Kobe would have done this. Michael Jordan would have done that. And now LeBron James, with the confetti on the floor and the Finals MVP trophy in his hand, he can say, I want my damn respect. And today is a day to celebrate him and give him his flowers, because after this game, there's been a transition. I've always felt LeBron James was the best player in the league, but I am biased. I'm a LeBron James fan. I'm a fan of LeBron James. But objectively, when you look at the past 3 or 4 titles, 3 years ago, when Kevin Durant pulled up and shot down LeBron James and those Cavaliers and brought the Warriors the title, he was the king of the court. He was the #1 player in the league after that season. After Kawhi Leonard took the Raptors to the championship last year, we weren't talking about LeBron James. He was injured. The Lakers were out of the playoffs. He was the king of the court. Right now, today, is it fair to say that not everyone, but most people consider LeBron James the best basketball player wearing sneakers in the world? Is LeBron James now, in your mind, the king of the court?
Bow down and all hail the king. Because I was one of those people that felt like at 35 years of age, in his 17th season, that he would lose to the Clippers. I thought that was going to take place. Except they didn't even make it to play LeBron. So I give a hat tip to his professionalism and his teammates and his leadership. Because in the bubble, there are a lot of distinct decisions that players needed to make. And LeBron James, as a leader of the league, not only starting more than the vote, but being on the Wheaties box because of his influence at I Promise School. Being a social justice champion, making sure that his voice is constantly heard. For him to still have that duality and go out and perform the way he did, that now makes him king of the court. And I want to just make sure I clarify something. LeBron James winning the championship and Finals MVP doesn't mean Giannis wasn't a regular season MVP, everybody. Those are two different things. LeBron James being king of the court today doesn't mean, like you said, your words, that Kevin Durant didn't shoot him down 2 straight years and win the championship.
Oh, he did.
It happened.
Oh, he did.
And so the great thing about being professionals is that you don't win it every year. That's the beauty of that's why Michael Jordan spoiled us. That's why Bill Russell spoiled us, because they made us think every time that they were in uniform, once they started winning championships, that they were going to win it. And so when LeBron doesn't win it, it gives the opportunity for those guys to get their acclaim. And so now that it's back and he has the MVP trophy and he has the Larry O'Brien trophy, LeBron James is the best player in basketball.
Absolutely, but let's not forget about Kevin Durant, because you know Kevin Durant was at home watching these games, and you know that he is healthy now, and I look forward to seeing him next season. But we're going to talk about the greatest of all time. We're going to talk about who's the best, but I just want to take today to celebrate what LeBron did in this series, because if you look at his numbers in this series alone, because don't forget after Game 2, we were talking about Anthony Davis being the Finals MVP. 29.8 points a game, 30 points a game, basically 60% from the field, 42% from 3, and he was shooting them too. Not great from the free throw line, 11.8 rebounds, 8.5 assists. I mean, that is a series, and it feels like LeBron puts up these numbers in every finals that he is in. Now, Jalen, I did mention Anthony Davis and the big monster games that he had in Game 1 and Game 2. And I've got a theory, Jalen. I was looking at this and trying to put things in perspective, and LeBron James now has 4 titles, and people talk about how he joined Dwayne Wade, and they were a duo in 2000, in the early 2000 teens. And then we had the 2016 when he had Kyrie as his running mate. And I was watching this and I said, Anthony Davis is the best running mate for LeBron James. Now, I know you disagree. Before you do, let me explain it this way. What did we start the show by talking this? And if you think about Kyrie, who's a ball-dominant guard, you think about Dwayne Wade, who's a little redundant with James positionally, both on offense and defense. What Anthony Davis does is provides that anchor of the defense. He's so good on defense. And I think you might have voted him Defensive Player of the Year, if I'm not mistaken. And that, and his size, and the fact that he plays such a drastically different position, he's not ball dominant, makes him the best complementary running mate for LeBron James, in my opinion. Your thoughts, Mr. Rose?
I'm writing down terms because you keep moving the goalposts. First you said best, and then you said most complimentary. Those are two different things. Also,
No.
I don't know who you was having AD should be Finals MVP conversations with after the first two
game
games.
two.
Because that was
After game
not
two,
me.
that was a conversation.
The only way he would have won MVP is if he would have had Wilt Chamberlain type of numbers in this series. LeBron James was going to win Finals MVP if the Los Angeles Lakers was going to win the championship. And lastly, better means their influence as it related to the team winning the championship. And LeBron James, I've been there each time as a member of the media. He's won the finals, all 10. I was there for the 4, not this year, 9. I was there for the 6 losses and 3 wins before this year. And let me tell you something. Better means what they also add to him. Okay, you told me all of the things that AD does defensively, but you didn't tell me how he also helps make LeBron better. Okay, so that's why the answer to this question first is Dwayne Wade. We forget why he left Cleveland the first time. He left Cleveland the first time because he was frustrated as an MVP that he felt that they couldn't build a team around him to win a championship. So he wanted to go to Miami, join Wade, join Bosh, create a super team that could possibly win not 5, not 6, not 7. And they were able to do that. They won 2. Kyrie Irving, the same player that when they were down 1-1, 2-1, 3-1, you predicted the Cavs are going to come back to win.
I did.
You predicted the Cavs going to win. That was you, right?
Exactly what I did.
Okay.
Yes, that was me.
And you were right. But you know, when you look down at that stat sheet and when you in the arena, you know whose influence was on that championship as much as LeBron's? Kyrie Irving. In particular in the championship rounds. Game 5, Game 6, they both had 40. Game 7, Kyrie Irving had to play drawn up for him to make the big shot. So when you say best, him and AD are the most compatible because one is leading the league in assists and the other one is 6'11" and got my vote for all defensive. And they will probably continue to evolve as the best duo in LeBron's career. But you can't overlook what he did with Wade and what he did with Kyrie. Those guys were getting the ball in clutch moments. AD did also in this series when he made that big time 3. So I want to give him credit. But those two guys were special with LeBron.
We will continue to have this debate. We'll continue to talk about the greatest of all time later on in the week. We'll be breaking down this championship all week long. However, there was a huge Sunday in the NFL. The Super Bowl champs went down, as did the quarterback of the Cowboys.
Are you
we'll
ready?
discuss in the South Street Seaport and brought to you by Chase. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen, the Cowboys beat the Giants yesterday, but that is insignificant as in the third quarter. While Dak Prescott was moving his offense down the field, he suffered a gruesome ankle injury. Jalen, what do you think this means for his future, his health, and his relationship with the Cowboys?
I felt bad for Dak and his family because you know I stress it's the score of the game and it's the game of life. And his brother took his own life recently. Dak came out and talked about his anxiety and his depression. The season started. The Cowboys didn't necessarily, in particular, defensively get off to the start that he wanted. He was putting up some numbers offensively. They were coming from behind in those first couple of games. And then all of a sudden this happens. The kind of injury that ends your year when you're playing on the franchise tag and you're going to be an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year. Jacoby, I said this previously, but now it may ring more true. The Dallas Cowboys may lose Dak Prescott because they couldn't get a deal done before the injury. Now when he comes into the office, they're going to look at him like a used car. They're going to say, hey, Dak, we love you. We know that you're going to be our franchise quarterback for the next 10 years. But because of that ankle injury that you had, let's put some fine print into your contract. And then he's going to be like, not going to be able to do it. And so it's going to be interesting if he couldn't get his money healthy, how he's going to get his money coming off an injury like this. It's going to cause him to miss the rest of the season. The Dallas Cowboys won't win a playoff game, likely won't make the playoffs, and this is going to be another overall disappointing season for the Dallas Cowboys team.
Absolutely. And we often talk about statistics and contracts and so much as we talk about and analyze these games, but watching him be carted off into the tunnel and the tears in his eyes and his fist in the air really brought tears to my eyes as well. And my heart and our hearts and thoughts and prayers are with Prescott and the Prescott family. But we move on to something else. One thing that we do here when we talk into microphones about sports is we make predictions. And we will not show them when we're wrong, but we will show them when we're right. And here is me from last Friday on the podcast. Jalen, I'm about to pick an upset this Sunday, 1 p.m.
Uh-oh.
Chiefs are going to lose. The Super Bowl champion Chiefs are going to lose to the Las Vegas Raiders. Guess what happened at 1 p.m. on Sunday? The Chiefs lost to the Las Vegas Raiders. Derek Carr had over 4 passes that went 40 yards. Jalen, what happened to the Chiefs?
I want to give you credit for your prediction, even though you didn't say it with your chest. That's another subject for another day. I want to shout out the Raiders, who they're explosive, dog. Mm-hmm. They're explosive. Derek Carr and John Gruden, he finds a way to dial those plays up to get cats going deep. And that's who they've always wanted to be. And building through the draft. This is how you get your running back. This is how you get your tight end. And for them to suppress the offense of the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, who did a couple of special things. How about the one time, Jacoby, when it was like 3rd and 20, and he was running around, and he's about to run across the line of scrimmage, and he stopped. And then he flinged the football across his body, but the guy dropped it. That, to me, embodies what happened to them in that game versus a team that now, all of a sudden, the Raiders are starting to feel good about themselves. Yeah. When you beat the defending Super Bowl champions, you walk around with your chest out a little more after that win.
Yes, you do. And for those of us that watched the NBA Finals last night and we watched the confetti go to the floor and we watched LeBron make his comments and everything that happened, you turn the channel over to the Sunday Night Football game and wow, did you get yourself a fourth quarter? Mike Simmons and the Vikings had a 4th and 1. If they completed that play, they would have sealed the deal. But no, they gave the ball back to Russell Wilson, who did what Russell Wilson always does, connected with Metcalf a couple times. 4th down completions a couple times and winning the game against the Vikings. Why do you have your head in your hands shaking your head?
Well, so Mike Zimmer is a meat and potatoes type of coach, right? So I know how much he loves the run game. But when Dalvin Cook goes out, and Madison did well by filling in for him.
He did do well.
He's not in the game. You got to kick the field goal, dog. You got to kick the field goal. You got to get up 8. Let me see. You score a touchdown, that's worth 6. If we get a 2-point conversion, that's worth 2. Oh, that means that we can't lose. That means we can't lose. You gotta kick the field goal. Let me say that first. Second, Russell Wilson is so very special that he and DK Metcalf have become such an elite combination that Metcalf is the only receiver in the NFL to catch for at least 90 yards in each game this year. The only one. And Russell Wilson now has that level of greatness that when we was watching this game, because at first when the Vikings had the ball, it was raining a little bit. And then if you notice on their final drive, it kind of stopped. And I was watching that. I was like, if it ain't raining, they definitely gonna drive and score. And how Russ just picking them apart, and boom, the dagger for the touchdown.
Jalen, the Los Angeles Lakers just won a championship. But Anthony Davis is officially a free agent. We will discuss that decision coming up next. You don't want to miss that. You're watching Jalen and Jacoby. Huge fight Saturday night. We have Lomachenko against Lopez. That is at 10 p.m. on Saturday night with all sorts of championship belts on the line. Make sure you tune into that. It is something you don't want to miss. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen, today as the champagne dries off all the clothes of the Laker team and front executive officers, there's something to consider. Anthony Davis is a free agent. When asked about it, he said he would talk to his agent about it. What do you think their strategy is going into free agency?
I think his strategy is going to be to play with LeBron James in LA the next couple of years while LeBron's still playing at his All-NBA MVP Finals championship level. And then ultimately, I believe his goal, like I've said on this show, is to also do what LeBron did. That's return to Chicago and try to deliver a championship to his hometown team. I think that's the long-term plan.
I mean, that almost directly mirrors LeBron's career path himself. You spend 7 years developing yourself. You decide you can't do it. You join up with superstars. You get multiple championships, and then you return to your hometown to try to bring the Larry O'Brien trophy back there. Jalen, one thing I do want to say that you kind of breezed over is you didn't mention him asking for a max contract for the Lakers. You think that he'll take a shorter contract, sort of the LeBron James clutch style kind of contract?
Oh, no doubt. He 1-1. He remember in college you shoot the 1-1s? He 1-1s until LeBron retired.